when I first started being a nomad, I didn't make a decision to be a nomad. I just quit my job and bought a one-way ticket to Paris.
I mean, like, there are proper Olympics, and then there's the Winter Olympics.
I'm going to come across this table. A lot of what's going on now in the nomad world and the travel world, where people are very obsessed with like getting drunk in different cities. And
good luck having a boring life now. Hey everybody, welcome to Stanis podcast number 12, and today I have here with me it's beautiful Chris.
Hi.
Chris is a digital nomad and a math teacher and a budding, ready to go into the stratosphere stand-up comedian. Amazing
lies.
Amazing career in the future. Chris is writing a book and making a blog and doing figure skating sometimes and some other stuff.
You make me sound so cool.
You are cool.
I want to hang out with that person.
It's called social persona. You're just like, you tell people all the cool things about yourself and you don't show them, videos of you picking your nose in the bathrobe.
You don't do that?
You don't do that. That's how you build reputation. You're building the other kind of that kind of reputation.
I mean, that's an important reputation too.
Yeah, and so Chris, one of the cool things I want to start with is that you've been living in a lot of places for the last 10 years. And as you told me, on May 18th, it? Yeah. You're going to be 10 years traveling around different countries and 10 years since you left US.
Yeah.
And so have you not gone back to the US at all in those 10 years?
I have. I've been back a few times, mostly to New York, to get visas or visit family and stuff, and to get vaccinated. So I've been back a few times, but I haven't been back in I think it's 2.5 years now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Were those short stays?
Yeah, 2 or 3 months at a time. There's only so much US I can take.
Okay. And so, but you've been sort of jumping around from country to country. But there are and I know you wrote that you've been to different countries in Asia, you've been to South Africa, South America, Europe, and all around the place. Do you spend mostly the same amount of time in different places?
I try to. I'm a very slow traveler. Other friends will travel very, very quickly, but I'm not like that. So I will spend usually 3 to 6 months in a place if it's new. And then if I'm going back to visit somewhere I've been before, maybe 1 to 2 months.
Okay.
It depends on if it's a new country, if it's a new part of the world, if it's a new city, a new language, things like that, and visa rules.
So what's the plan for those 3 to 6 months? You come in? No, I'm just you come in. Definitely, you find a place to live.
Yeah.
Beforehand, probably.
Yeah.
So you go into a country with plane tickets and a booked place to live.
Yes.
But then, what needs to transpire in those 3 to 6 months for you to say, okay, I'm satisfied and I'm ready to move on?
Well, usually it's not. It's a set time based on visa rules. So it's not I leave when I feel like I'm ready to leave. The time is set, and then I make my own arc within there. So usually I come in the first week is getting settled in. It's looking at all the things in the grocery store and trying to figure out which shampoo do I use in this country and what, that was real fun here in Georgia because I don't read any Russian or Georgian. So I'm just in the grocery store, my Google Translate, trying to figure out which one's shampoo and which one's conditioner. It's
probably Georgian is a lot harder for Google Translate than Russian.
Yeah, I don't, it's thank God for the one where you can just has a camera and you can just take a picture and it translates because I don't know what I would do.
If you were traveling 5 years earlier or was it already there 5 years earlier?
Well,
I remember it was really bad at some point.
Yeah. Well, I remember when I was in Korea, it was real rough to the point where I was I just want to hire someone to follow me around and read everything.
That's the job I would have gotten if I finished my translator.
Yeah.
Degree in college.
Yeah.
Thank God I didn't.
Just following white people around, reading all the things to them.
Probably maybe Chinese people as well.
Yeah.
Honestly, in Russia, that would be good. So do you not here's I guess the thing is like I would get a lot of irritation of skin if I change my shampoos and gels a lot.
Yeah.
Do you not bring those with you?
No.
Or are you looking for like brands that you know?
No, you have to like. I subscribe to the buy it there theory of nomading, where you only bring the stuff that you know you won't be able to replace, and then you try to buy everything else when you get there.
I guess you're you like have a sturdier build than me because like I'm.
Well, I've been doing this 10 years, like, you know.
Yeah. So
you just get used to things after a while.
Get over your allergies.
You're like, I just have dandruff now. Like, this is just who I am. There's nothing.
It's true.
We can't do anything about it.
There are some
Acceptance.
shampoos that like. If I use them, and I remember this from Moscow, like, because I lived in Moscow for like 29 years, and I'm here for a year and a half now. And I like there would be a combination of stuff that would like maybe change a little bit, depends on like where in Moscow I live. It's like if I use this shampoo at this frequency with this conditioner, I don't get dandruff anymore.
Yeah, that's not. I'm never gonna find that again.
Yeah, and when I moved here, that particular one is not here, and now I get dandruff. I just wash my head more often.
Just like acceptance phase. Like if this is what I have to put up with to be a nomad, then that's what we're doing.
So you come in and you like look at like basically I guess you have a small period of like opportunity gathering of like what is here.
It's like honeymoon phase. You're like, wow, everything. Look at these street dogs. Like it's so great. Like,
they're so
this city is so cool. Like
they're so sick and
you
bald.
love
It's
everything.
so great.
And everything's like awesome. And you're like, look at all this food. And then like after 2 weeks, you're like, all right, I should focus up now.
Do you try to come in the best season and leave in the worst so that you don't feel as bad?
Oh, sometime, but I think it's more like I don't think it usually works out that way. It's more like I try to stay out of like the hot weather and try to go in like the shoulder seasons where things are not going to be so crowded. So
you were in Georgia. When did you come to Georgia?
I got here October 16th, so 3 months.
So yeah, you missed the worst weather.
Yeah,
that's true. But you also missed you almost missed the best weather as well.
I think October, like the first week I got here was really bad, and then like November was gorgeous.
Okay.
So yeah,
I feel like September, October, November are great. Yeah, this October was maybe not that great, but it's a good thing you were in here in July and August.
No, that's not for me.
It was just really horrible.
I'll be in South America. Well, actually, I'll be at the Olympics in July.
Oh, really? That's cool.
I won tickets.
Where is it?
Paris.
The Olympics is in Paris?
Yes.
I'm so out of touch. Out of the loop.
It's happening.
Is it like the Winter Olympics?
No,
the regular Olympics?
The regular? Excuse me, I'm a figure skater. They're both regular Olympics.
Really? Figure skating is regular Olympics?
Yes.
Why?
What?
There are Winter Olympics and
that's
normal Olympics.
Winter Olympics is regular Olympics. Why are you like...
No. I mean, like, there are proper Olympics, and then there's the Winter Olympics.
I'm going to come across this table.
It's like the weirdos who love Snow Olympics.
They are both proper Olympics.
I'm not sure. Like, some people call them Special Olympics, I think.
That's a different thing.
That's a different thing? No? Okay. Good. I thought Paris was kind of small. Is it like, how are they going to host all of those events?
They're at all different venues all over the place. So one of the things, like we have tickets for, what's that called with the fencing?
And ice fencing.
No, it's not. It's just regular fencing.
No snow?
Maybe we'll see. And it's like in the Grand Palais. Like it's just gonna be gorgeous. And then we have tickets for like equestrian something or other at Versailles, at Palace of Versailles. So we're just going to be fancy that day. We didn't know.
Damn, I hope it's not horse fucking.
Oh, man. That's...
Olympic horse fucking.
If that happened again, that'd be rough.
Yeah. It wasn't even in the Olympics, I guess, the first time you...
No. That's a new event.
It's probably... Yeah, like you can find it, I think.
I don't want to find that. That was not part of the bucket list.
It's like My Little Pony.
No.
Of the Olympics.
Absolutely. That's a different part of the city.
My Little Pony.
That's what goes on in Montmartre, not in Versailles.
How did you win the tickets though?
So it was like a bucket list thing. So every time there's Olympics, I always put my name in like.
In what?
In like the lottery.
They have a lottery?
Yeah, there's a lottery. So I got a email like almost about a year ago, like on a random Monday morning, like you won the lottery, and I was like, okay, but I'm not going to the Olympics.
I'm
like
a millionaire now.
That's ridiculous.
No, not that type of lottery.
I'm like, I'm not going. Like it's in Paris. Nobody wants to be like sweating in French and like. So I was just like, oh, I'm just not going to do this. But then
huge rock thrown in the garden of Paris.
Yeah. So then I just like texted a lot of my friends, and I was like, does anybody want to go to the Olympics? Like, and 2 of my friends were like, yeah, we really do. So I was like, all right, well, then I started to think about it, and I was like,
fuck my friends.
Maybe
I don't
we
want
could
them
like,
to have my tickets.
maybe this could be like a thing. So I started looking at it, and then I realized that all the tickets, because I won the lottery, were 24 euros because of the 2024 Olympics. And I was like, that's super cheap to go to the Olympics. So there, we started like looking into it.
How many did you win?
30 tickets.
30 tickets
at 24 euros each.
That's a really weird lottery. Why is it like, who is this person who has so many friends?
I think you're supposed to keep them all for yourself, but I shared.
So you need to attend the Olympics 30 times.
Well, so I ended up with 12 of the tickets, and then the other girls had, I guess, 9 and 9 or something like that.
But how do they work? It's one ticket per.
Yeah, so we got 30
event?
different events. So some of the events are like all 3 of us are going, some of them are 2 of us going, and some of them are just one person.
This is so logistically complex.
You have no idea, Stanis. That morning, I drank so much coffee. It was fucking nuts. Like, because none of us were in the same time zones. Like, and then the thing kept breaking, and I was in the queue, and then it was like you had to buy 3 tickets together. So we'd be like, we need these 3 things, but then one wouldn't be available. It was a whole thing.
Oh, so it's not even that you need
so
to
stressful.
pre-purchase the correct specific
Yeah.
events.
So then we had to make sure like, oh, we're not like doing one thing on one side of town at 11 and something else on the other side of town. Like it was a whole team effort.
What's the regular price for those?
Not 24 euros.
You don't know how much.
Some of the tickets were like 500 plus. And then I saw like they were doing like 3 to 5 day tours that were like 20,000 euros, where you had a bunch of tickets for different things within a 3 to 5 day period, and hotel accommodations.
And somebody will be like, we'll take care of all this craziness for you. And you,
what craziness?
Well, I mean, like for like accommodations and the tickets.
No,
and,
yeah.
That's the tour. Basically.
I mean, we figured out our own accommodation.
I get it.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying that you said that there are tours.
Yeah.
Where I guess there's some margin there for the person who's doing all that.
Yeah. I think it's just like the fanciest hotel there is.
It's such an insane. So this would be like my nightmare. Like,
it was a nightmare.
I mean, even the attending.
Yeah,
would be my nightmare.
I am also not excited about that, but something I've always wanted to do. I'm like obsessed with like how they take the Olympics and like what they do with those venues after the Olympics and things. So I just wanted to see the whole process and like be there.
But the more classic experience would be to go to I'd say a poorer country, so that you can see like the devastation that is left behind after building all of those.
I mean, I've lived in Barcelona, so I see like the
throwing human suffering at it
all the
until
stuff.
It's done.
I see what the Olympic Parks looks like now.
People just dying, in the Arab Emirates, like building stuff.
That's the World Cup. That's
it's
not
true.
the Olympics.
That's a different one.
That's a different thing.
The Olympics, don't they do the same thing?
I mean, I think most cities reuse a lot of their stuff.
I know like that when Russia had Olympics and like people now make like videos or photos of like completely just abandoned gigantic structures with like no use for them, breaking down slowly. Yeah, it's just really sad.
That sounds like a Russia problem.
It sounds like a Russia problem. I'm sure it's like I'll have to look up some essay by a YouTuber who's like, nobody's using their Olympic shit.
We use our shit in Barcelona all the time.
Yeah.
We go there's concerts where they had the swimming and like,
yeah. Well, it's underwater concerts are the best.
Yeah. Super fun.
Like, it's like you just drown just the vocalist.
Yeah. Cause sound travels better underwater. Everyone knows that.
When the bubbles pop, you hear some parts of
that's how it works.
Of the solo. So that's good.
You just go and drink like a fish.
Cool. Okay, well, congratulations to you on that.
Thanks. It was like a prize I wasn't expecting, but
you did participate though.
But I didn't think I was gonna. It was like only 100 people that won the lottery. Like,
out of how many?
I can't even imagine.
No, I wonder. Like, I apply for green cards. That's the only lottery I apply for. And there is an ambiguous feeling about it. Like, if we ever win, it's like shit.
That's how I felt about the Olympics. I was like, oh, are we doing this?
I guess it's more trouble to move to the US than to go to the Olympics.
I would.
One time. No?
I would not move to the US.
You don't
recommend.
You don't have to. Like you already have the passport.
Yeah.
It works for a lot of stuff.
And I am very grateful for that privilege.
There's a lot of US passport privilege where like
for sure.
Sometimes you talk to an American person, they're like, why don't you just go there? Like just live there. And you're like, fuck you, man. Like,
you don't understand.
I can't. Like it's
we don't all have visa on arrival in 130 something countries.
It's true. But weird thing is like Russians do have no visa in Georgia for a year and then you just go out and back and you can continue going. And what's American visa policy for Georgia?
I think it's the same.
It's the same. They just go like, just stay
here. They don't care. Like,
so, but you said that you like 3 to 6 months and then you leave because your visa is up. So in Georgia, that's not the case.
No, I'm just leaving by choice.
Like, fuck this place. You're like, well, I'm leaving.
To be fair, I did come here because my Schengen days were up in Europe and I had to leave.
So it's like
I stayed out for my 90 days. Now I'm going back.
Okay, that's understandable. So now you can go back to like Barcelona. Oh, no, you're going.
Valencia.
You're going to Valencia this time. Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay. Huh. I guess that's it. We're done with the podcast.
We'll just sit here and stare at each other
for an hour and a half, and then that's it. Okay, cool. I wanted to ask you about some other stuff. I wanted to ask you about, so you started a blog, and it is for nomads.
I mean, it's on the internet. I wouldn't say I really started it, but
it's like the same thing you have with lottery tickets. You're like, I didn't expect to win.
I didn't think it was good.
I didn't start a blog. I just started a blog.
I just put it on the internet.
And now it's there.
Disaster, but it exists.
Technically started it.
I mean, I think I probably started it when I started traveling, but I didn't really want to like publish it for a very long time. But now I feel like now that I've been traveling for 10 years and I feel like I do have something to say about long-term travel.
Okay.
And I think seeing a lot of what's going on now in the nomad world and the travel world where people are very obsessed with like these luxury things and like getting drunk in different cities and all these like very easy but very superficial experiences. I'm like, I don't think that this is like gonna make people happy as far as their travel because they're just going and like I made friends, but like none of your friends were like locals or people who live there. They were just like other expats who were traveling, which is fine. Like we've all done that. But I think if you want something long-term and more sustainable, like you have to learn how to find community. You have to learn how to form friends that are longer than 5-hour friends. You have to learn how to like date and have relationships and like all of these things. You have to learn how to manage your work and change careers and all of these things that like people don't think about in the short term, but is very necessary for if you want to have a career as a nomad or as a long-term traveler.
I'm imagining you forming a friend like out of dirt and clay.
Yeah.
And just like, and it's like, it's not
That's how I got my boyfriend.
5-hour. So it's not a 5-hour friend, so they don't fall apart as quickly.
Oh, do you know what like a 5-hour friend is? Like that's a thing in travel. It's like the friends that you like go to the bar and you hang out with them and you're like best friends for life and then you like never see them again.
I never had that experience.
Really? Yeah. You never stayed in a hostel and we're like, we're BFFs. And then like the person leaves and you're like, oh, never, I will never speak to you again.
Well, mostly I have the conversation I have with people I don't know is don't talk to me.
Yeah.
But we have it with our eyes.
Yeah. Like, stay back. I bite.
It's like.
Back the fuck up. You would do very well in New York with that.
It's like, it's because Moscow is actually very.
Is it?
It's very close. Like Moscow is like 15 million people. It's like
15 million? It's 2 New Yorks.
It's, no. New York is like.
New York is 8 million.
You are
maybe 8.5 by now.
I am counting with the population of the things around.
Oh,
like,
the entire metro area.
The entire metro area, yeah. Because like in Moscow, at the very least, the whole entire metro area comes in the center and goes back. So I feel they are a part. So population New York.
We don't let New Jersey say that they're a part of New York.
New York State is 19 million people.
New York State is not New York City.
But New York itself is 8.5.
But New York State is like saying that all of Georgia is Tbilisi. Like it's not the same.
Okay,
thing.
Moscow is 13 million. Just Moscow without the area. It's bigger than New York. Why did I think that New York is bigger than Moscow?
Because we're better.
This entire time. Better at what?
Everything.
Nah, like if you go to... Have you ever been to the Moscow metro stations?
I have not been to Russia.
I'm afraid you will be thoroughly disappointed in New York's infrastructure once you...
We do have a
Moscow.
shitty subway. That is, I'll give you that.
See, the problem that I had, like just from the... I guess it's because of the American bravado and all the other things. So I lived in Moscow for 29 years, and everything pointed me towards like, oh, we're probably the shittiest city in the world. It's like just really, really bad. I will go to any place and it will be so much better. And you know how disappointed I was to learn that infrastructurally, I am actually living in one of the best cities in the world. And that's such a gut punch.
Yeah.
Because you've been
You're like, this is the best it gets.
yeah, you've been thinking your entire life, oh, and then I'll experience something amazing. And
like,
then you're like,
no,
fuck,
this
our
is the
internet,
best we can do.
mobile banking, public transportation system, the way that like just the, you know, like nothing almost never breaks. Electricity never cuts out. The water never stops.
Yeah.
It's always warm.
Oh,
it's
don't
warm
go to
and
Cape Town.
Yeah, I heard about the rolling blackouts.
Yeah.
And I'm experiencing them here as well.
Yeah, we didn't have any water last night. So fun.
They're not as rolling, I guess, as Cape Town. They're just kind of like start and
Cape
stop.
Town, it's every day, multiple times a day.
Oh my god, man!
Super fun.
I like if the historical and political situation was different, I would say go visit Moscow. But now I cannot say that.
I don't think my
realize.
passport privilege extends that far.
Yeah, I guess you actually, I guess you gotta get a visa to go to Russia. It's kind of
I have
difficult.
not researched it.
Yeah, well, to hell with you.
I'm a Cold War kid. Like, this is the first part of the Soviet Union I've been in. So, baby steps.
Baby steps. Like, is there a reason to try to go to Russia? I guess not anymore. Not for the next 5 to 7 years, I guess.
I mean, yeah, I don't. Maybe like what's the train that goes across? I've heard that's cool.
Across what?
I don't know. It goes like across the whole country, right?
It goes across the whole continent. Well, if you want to go across the whole continent, I'm not sure.
There's like a famous train that goes across. Why can't I think about it?
I have no idea.
Are you Russian?
I am Russian.
Are you sure?
Like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Okay.
It will take you a very long time to cross the entirety of the continent by train. It's going to be
I think it's
really,
like
really
4 or
long
5 days or something.
Yeah. No, it's a lot longer.
Is
than
it?
that. Yeah. To go from one side of Russia to another, I think it would be like 2 weeks or something.
Oh, really?
It's have you seen the globe? Like it's
I have seen a globe.
it's like it's very wide. Just like me. Just like coming out of there. I miss the fact that in Moscow you can get anything with an express delivery in like in 40 minutes.
Yeah.
You're like, I want this rare piece of tech in 40 minutes on my doorstep, and it's just there, and you're like, fuck, that's quick. And here in Georgia, you're like, I want this really shitty generic piece of tech you guys say you have on your website, and you come in there and they're closed, even though it's their working hours.
Right.
And then you call them and you say, well, when can I pick up that thing? And they're like, oh, we forgot to take it down from the website. We don't have
just
that.
kidding.
We don't have that at all. Like it says you have 5 more. Like
It never existed.
we updated it just like willy-nilly. Also, we decided to close like 2 hours before the end of the workday.
Also, we're having lunch.
It's true. Like, you could try punching yourself in the face and seeing if you want the thing still after that. That's what we can offer you.
Good deal. I'd take that.
I like the service here. It's like this. That's the thing I want to push forward here.
It's bad when you're like, I'm going to go back to Spain because it's for less chaos and better service.
Well, you're saying that luxury temporary experiences are not the thing that you love and enjoy.
No.
What are the things that you do love and enjoy?
I think for me, like the main thing is like when you come into a city, you know no one. You don't know anything that's going on. You can't even pick a shampoo in the store.
It's the best part.
And
Nobody knows you.
3 months later, you're at a bar full of your friends that you've made, and people are coming up to you saying, "Oh, like I saw you do stand up," and like something that I had never done before, and come into a city and like become part of the community and to make friends and have people know who you are and feel like you've contributed something. To me, that's like what it's all about. Like, and when I'm in Barcelona, I do like the human towers there. I don't know if I showed you the picture of like.
No, you haven't.
There's.
Is that the thing where you build?
Yeah, it's literally what it sounds like. It's towers made of humans.
I've seen a Simpsons episode about that, I think.
Maybe it's. So I belong to the team there, and just like being able to come in out of nowhere and like not speak Catalan, not even know that was a language or like a thing. And like join the team and be part of the community. And now like when I go back there, everyone's like, "Oh my God, where have you been? Like we missed you. Like what are you up to?" Like
that's our foundation.
Yeah,
there.
and like literally the base. Like and to be able to be welcomed back and be like, "Oh, here's your spot. Like we need you. Can you help us?"
That base.
Yeah, that's me. I'm a land animal. I do not climb things.
No treble.
No, I don't. There's none. It's just all
about that base.
Yep.
Yeah. Good.
So yeah.
And then you do the tower and you have a picture and you're like,
but no one ever sees me in the picture because I'm in the very, very center where it's literally pitch dark.
Is it not really well lit, human towers?
It's in the center. Like there's like 25 people in a space that's meant for like 3. We're all very squished and dark.
I guess. I'm thinking about pyramids.
Oh,
so
no,
how do
it's
towers
not a pyramid.
work?
It's like it's round and it's like a castle, like a tower.
Like, are there like people standing on your shoulders, or
yeah?
And then there are several more.
Yeah, so
up there.
Our team does as high as 9.
How do you
9
not
people.
Die?
Like it's very rare that someone dies. Most of the time, you just suffer.
But spectacular. Somebody just pops like a balloon.
No, you just like suffer a lot and then it's over and you're like, that was fucking awesome. I don't know.
It does sound like bad sex. But the awesome part is not. But like, how many experiences are that are like that where you're like, oh, that's just so hard and it sucks so much. It was awesome.
Well, I think like the things that are worth doing, right, are hard. Like running a marathon was hard, but like that's a sense of accomplishment. And like, even doing stand-up was like, that was so difficult and so stressful for me. And then like, you know, the reward is like, now you have this thing that you created and you put jokes out into the world. And
I have sent you a video of this particular, your last stand-up set.
Yeah.
Is that like, you created, like, are you going to put it somewhere? Or is it
where am I going to put it?
I know, like your blog. Put it on YouTube. Add it to your blog. I'm
concerned about doing that because one, there's a lot of cursing.
And your blog doesn't have any cursing?
My blog doesn't really have anything yet, so I don't know what the vibe I want to go with.
So when you said that you didn't start it, you mean you haven't wrote a post yet?
I have some posts on there, but they're things that are from the past. But I don't know if I want to put my face on my blog yet or if I want it to be anonymous. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do that. So if I was going to put my stand up somewhere, it would just probably be on my Instagram. But then like the people that I'm talking about in the stand up follow me. So I'd have to like block them, or I don't know. I haven't figured out what to do with that.
I don't remember you bad mouthing anybody there.
There was a whole section about how bad in bed Georgian guy was.
Oh, so those guys are following you.
He will absolutely know that I'm talking about him.
He doesn't. Do you think he doesn't know yet?
He does not know that I did a whole stand-up routine about it publicly.
Well,
so I have to.
You can say there was another one.
I'm pretty sure he will know.
He'll figure it out.
He will know what I'm talking about.
I guess that's.
But then there's, do I care?
True. That's true.
So we'll see. I have to think about that one a little bit.
Interesting. From some point, I'm just putting everything out because nobody gives a shit. That's like.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's where I arrived.
Yeah.
Do you have any people like from back home whose opinion matters to you, like on what you're
from back home?
Yeah.
I don't think from back home, but I would say like my Nomad friends, like their opinions definitely matter.
So do you not have any like kind of like people that stayed in the U.S.?
I have like a few, but they're not like in my close inner circle. Like some people I stay in contact with or whatever, but not really.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
As well.
Well, I've been traveling 10 years. So like if you think about, do you have any friends from 10 years ago? Like it's hard to maintain those friendships as an adult, especially when you're a 45-year-old woman and everyone else has gone off and had kids and done other things.
I might not ever get to be a 45-year-old woman.
You could try though.
I could try.
You could try.
There are ways, but I might not.
Yeah.
It's like, but I do have like my friendships are kind of like I don't have many friends actually, but they are all very very old friends.
Yeah.
So like my oldest friend that I have, we've been friends since I was 13 years old. So we've been friends for 18 years old now. And me and my wife, we've been together since I was 18. So we've been together for 13 years. And then the other ones, like people who I have some connections with, most of them are like 10 years plus.
Yeah.
And some of them I have like been talking to like the last, I think, 5 years, maybe 4 years.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just like the opposite of like.
Yeah.
And I just hate going to new places. We couldn't be more different.
Yeah, right.
Honestly, I like building like a place. Like,
Yeah.
Like I have a studio, and I'm like,
I mean, I would also like that, and I would love to have a dog and like all these things. But for me, I still am going to choose nomading, and sacrifices are worth it to me. But
yeah, no, I'm saying that I'm like an anchor.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm like even on a ship that has an anchor. I'm like, I am the anchor.
And to me, anchors just hold you down.
Yeah. So. I'll hold shit down. That's what
you're like, yeah. And I'm like, that's holding me back.
And I weigh a lot. It's like, that's the thing. This thing that I do. I'm not sure, like, you might be able to help me translate my weight into pounds, like, because I weigh around 123 kilograms, which should be times 2.2.
Yes.
Which should be like 270 pounds or something. So I just...
It's just irrelevant, because if you were on the moon, you'd have a different weight.
True.
And like, it doesn't matter.
I just love the feeling of going into the elevator.
Yeah.
And all the buttons stop lighting up. They are saying like, we're not going anywhere, son. Get the fuck up. This is like, it can be 5 Georgian grandmas.
Yeah.
Or me.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. Those grandmas can walk.
That's an equal
They need
exchange.
the exercise.
Yeah. Like use it or lose it.
Yeah.
That's the truth. Got it. Like, got it. We're just extremely different people trying to have a conversation and failing at it. It's like,
I mean, you're failing.
That's good.
I'm doing great.
You're just feeling good. Yesterday, you told me I'm not funny, and
did I tell you that?
Yeah,
No, I did
and
not.
I was muttering under my breath.
When did I say that?
For the last 14 hours of like you fucking with.
I didn't tell you weren't funny.
I don't remember. You were just talking about something like about stand-up. So are you funny? I was like, yeah, yes, I am. Stanis is not funny. So I'm like,
that does sound like me.
You bitch. How could you say that? Okay, actually, let me ask you about figure skating then.
No, I'm not sending you the video of me doing the belly flop.
I don't mind. You can send me whatever. Like, when did you start? You said 20 years, which means 25 years back, right?
Yeah, I started on Valentine's Day, 1999. Yeah.
Oh, that's a long time. I was 7.
That was a long ass time ago. I was 20. And I just thought, like, you know what I want to do? It's kind of similar to how stand-up happened. So I guess I'm the same person. Just thought, like, you know what would be fun? Or, like, what would be, like, cool is, like, if I learned how to skate.
If I could make people laugh, that's the
right.
same thing.
It's the same driving force with everything I've ever done. So yeah, I just went to the ice rink and was like, "Hey, can I also do this?" And they were like, "Sure." And then they put me in a class with like 5-year-olds, and they were all better than me.
Try to knock down as many as you can.
They were just like mocking me the whole time, and it was it was very humbling. But then because I was 20, I was like, okay, I can like hack this and like learn how to practice and like ask specifically what are the skills I need to do and what do I need to practice. And like I just like practiced really hard, and all the kids like went home and got hot chocolate. And by the end of the class, I was like the best one. And I was like, haha, who's laughing now? And they're like, we don't care because we're 5.
They did care. They were
awfully in my head they cared,
sure.
but like so then I got moved. I got skipped 2 classes after that.
So your actual purpose there was humiliating
defeat
children.
5-year-olds, which was my purpose when I was a teacher as well. Just
humiliating children,
just be better than the children.
Well, they say you need to stay 1 lesson ahead.
Yeah.
If you're doing elementary school, that's kind of
it's low-hanging fruit.
It's not great.
It's low-hanging fruit. They outnumbered me, but I just had to outsmart them every day.
So you used to work as a teacher for a long time.
Yes, 15 years.
If I understand, you're still working as a teacher somewhat.
No, I write lessons, but I don't teach anymore.
How does that work? Like, I am interested. Like, how do you actually make money? Like,
so I
have an OnlyFans.
No, I do not. I wish I did.
It's
that
a
would
math
be amazing.
OnlyFans.
No, I was a teacher in New York City public schools. Yeah. If you've seen Die Hard 3, the one they try to blow up.
Yep.
Didn't try hard enough. Had to go to school. Not a good time. But yeah, I loved teaching there. And I quit in 2014. But in 2012, I started, I had always been really good at teaching math. And other teachers would like ask me for my stuff and like ask for help with things. And like, my kids don't get this. What should I do? And like, I just been really good at like helping the kids who are like, I hate math, like not hate math and like actually understand it. So I started putting together like my lesson plans and things and like selling them online. So then by the end of the 2014 school year, I like was making just as much money as my salary, like selling my math lessons and things online. I was like, I'm just going to quit.
How does that work? Do you like have a website where you sell it as a
There's
course?
like a third party website. It's called TPT. It used to be called Teachers Pay Teachers. So I started back like, I guess it's been 11 years now.
Oh, so it's just like if you're a teacher, you can go on that website and get some...
and buy materials or sell your materials or whatever it is that you want to do. So I had that store forever. And then after I'd been traveling a few years, I was like kind of bored with that. And also like it kind of got to the point where I was like, I need to like, because when I first started being a nomad, I didn't make a decision to be a nomad. I just quit my job and bought a one-way ticket to Paris. And like... Yeah. That was the entirety of my plan.
Hoping to participate in the lottery.
Yeah. I did not see that coming full circle 10 years later. But yeah, so I just like, that was the entirety of my plan. And then I, like 3 years in, I was like, maybe I should like come up with an actual plan. Like if I want to continue to do this long term, like plan and skills might be good. So I like taught myself how to code and did some like online boot camps and stuff and became a WordPress web developer. And so I've been doing that since 2017.
So then you
7 years.
Developed like a website to sell your math?
No. Those two things are separate. So I have like clients that I build their websites.
Cool.
Yeah. So I do like freelancing and then I have the passive income of writing.
And do you like do freelancing like Fiverr and Upwork?
Upwork, yeah.
Upwork. Yeah. I'm looking for downwork like to come out because like Upwork sounds
it sounds rough, but like I work 15 hours a week. So not mad about it.
Why does it sound rough?
I mean, because everyone always complains about like being a freelancer and like it's so hard to find clients and this and that. I'm like, all right, maybe, but like
not for me.
Not if you're good at what you do and have like the privilege of being able to work with clients in the US. Like if you have those two things and you're really like genuinely good at what you do and like genuinely like working with your clients and taking care of them, then like it's not cool. It's not rocket science.
True. I wonder like maybe there's I wonder why some people don't go for the American clients, or maybe the American clients are like, are you from the US? Maybe they check that.
Well, Upwork has a thing where it's like clients can choose to only work with other Americans if they want, or they can outsource. So like obviously those price ranges are very different.
Yeah, that's just like that's the cool thing about the economy today is like the gap between being merit based and being just like what would be the like xenophobic? What's the opposite thing of xenophobia? Which would be like homogeny mania?
Assimilation. I don't know.
Something like when you just like, okay, let's go for the other people who have the same cultural context as us.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. We're living in a weird, in weird times.
Yeah.
Like I attended some. I went on BetterHelp for a while.
Oh yeah.
And I was there. I just wanted to try English speaking therapy.
Yeah.
And like I was amazed that it was not very good.
Yeah, I had a real bad experience on BetterHelp. Like at one point I was like, hey, I think I'm depressed because like I'm traveling and I don't know anyone and I haven't spoken to a person in like 6 days. And like the therapist's advice was like, can you find someone to talk to? I was like, I didn't think of that. Like I have been trying, but I don't speak these languages.
I had a lot of experience with like Russian speaking therapists.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting thing of like well, basically like Russian speaking therapists will work for, some vegetables and, a little bit of wheat.
Yeah.
And like English speaking
As
therapists.
one does.
And English speaking therapists will work for a lot of money, and the level difference is somewhat staggering, which is like, wow, you really need to have a lot of money to have English speaking therapy. That's cool. But I also talked to like people in groups, because like there was some group support. There were some support groups in English, and then like I would come in there, and they would be from America. Everybody would be from America, and it's kind of interesting to listen to what people are saying, and just like the price ranges and the type of problems that they have.
Yeah.
And I'm weirdly caught in between cultures myself, because I'm very much English speaking internet.
Yeah.
And not very Russian. And then you have some people who are like going crazy trying to work, and they're working for very little money. But if they just manage to switch their focus a little bit and find some US clients, they would X3 their income. And also the other way around, you can go and hire somebody on Fiverr for a lot of money who don't fucking know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they will be like a kid from America who is like, well, but I want $100 for that. And you're like, you should be able to do this in half an hour. And you can't do it in 3 days. Yeah. It's like...
I'd say probably half my clients are people who had that experience and now are like, I do not want to do that again. Can you please actually help me?
Oh, man, it's fun. Cool. Do you like to code?
I mean, it's copy paste.
ChatGPT?
No, not but yet. Like you have to like Google like, how do I do this? And then you find someone else's code and you're like, this will work perfectly. I mean, sometimes you have to write your own code, but
that's like a red day in the calendar.
I mean, it's WordPress, so like it's been done. No one is asking me to do anything that's not been figured out.
I wonder when ChatGPT will do that. Well, it's an interesting thing where it's like it suddenly became much closer to human level, but then again, people were like, "Oh my god, it's so close now," and they're like, "But it's still kind of not really close."
Still, you can still.
It was
tell the difference.
It was a big jump, and everybody was so excited, so excited, and then they're like, "No, it's still
like,
not.
No, it's not. It's not going to be there."
Okay, well, do you have any feelings about ChatGPT and stuff?
I mean, I think like there's a lot of fear mongering about like it's going to take over all the creative things. They're like, why can't we teach robots to do the shitty jobs and not like the fun jobs? But like, I don't know. I don't see it taking over everyone, all the creative spaces.
Yeah, not yet.
I mean, maybe in 10 years I'll look back and be like, that was real dumb. Say
it was
that.
Not very correct.
It was.
And the
when
AI
was I wrong on that one?
And like stop talking.
I mean, at that point I'll be 55. I'm just like give up.
Do you have like a grand plan for your life going forward?
Did you not hear the story? Does any of this sound like at any point I had any plan? My plan is like keep doing what I'm doing for as long as I can, and then I don't know, figure something else out.
I thought like
just give up. Yeah,
I thought that would be then I die.
Yeah, I mean that's a solid plan.
So that's a very reliable plan. You do something and then you die at some point.
I mean, I think the good thing about being a nomad is like I can decide to do whatever I want. If I want to go volunteer in the Galapagos like my friend is doing. I can go do that. If I want to like, fuck off to Thailand for a bit, you can do that. Like whatever. Or if you want to like go back to Westchester and get a giant house and go back to being like quote unquote normal, like, I can do that too. So
get a giant house in Westchester.
Yeah.
Are they cheap there?
No.
Do you have like a lot of money?
I could get a lot of money.
How?
And then get a house if I wanted to.
How could you get a lot of money?
I mean,
there are ways.
There are ways.
This is like murder.
I'm just saying, you're asking a plan. Like these are possible plans that you could have.
Did that sound cool? Just get a lot of money.
Just
and
do
get a
it.
House. That's good. You're just like a Shia LaBeouf buff.
Just like figure it out.
I'm a Shia LaBeouf buff.
Okay.
Like looks like I'm a Stanis stan.
Yeah.
I stand Stanis.
Yeah, that's.
Like I don't want to live anymore. I can Stanis. I can Stanis no longer. That's it. That's cool. I know. I'm just measuring stuff with things I kind of want to do.
Yeah.
Like, because you said like you're writing a book. I'm like, I want to write a book. And
Yeah.
that's like one of the things I think about the products I might do in the future. Like I'll be like, if I ever did like a really good 10-minute like comedy video, like of like, like a special, but it doesn't even have to be a special.
Yeah.
If I just had 10 to 12 minutes that were really good, I would actually be really happy.
Just put everything you have into like that 10 minutes.
Yeah. All the jokes, just 4 audio tracks speaking
just
at the
like
same time.
Joke.
4 videos,
just,
every corner.
Just, masterpiece.
That would be worth doing to me.
Yeah.
Like, or writing a book that people actually like.
Then do it.
Doesn't have to be a book. Can be like a story.
Yeah.
That's all that. No, I'm kind of slowly moving towards there.
I think the thing for me is like representation matters, right? So if you're a voice that has not traditionally been the loudest voice in the room, then those of us who have those voices need to speak louder.
Like a dumb Russian guy with colored hair, or like what's the voice you're talking?
Just in general, like I think, especially in the Nomad world, there's been a lot of like very privileged white guys who have been the loudest voices in the room for a long time. And
I'm kind of white, I think. Well,
I'm talking about the Nomad sphere though.
Okay,
like,
sure.
So I just think like, if I had read a book about someone who had the kind of life I have, like I would have been like, yeah, fuck yeah, I want to do that. Like I didn't know that this was a choice. So I think representation matters because then you can see that and you can be like, oh, that's what I want to do too. Or I want to do that, but I'm going to put my own twist on it or things like that. Like,
what about the TikTok then?
I don't even have TikTok. I'm 45, Stanis.
You don't have to be.
I like not even elder millennial. On Tinder, I'm 40.
Round it down.
Yeah, I mean,
you work up, but
no one has ever complained when I told them my actual age.
They were tied up by that moment and gagged. So like, how could they?
It's the other way around, bro.
So, okay.
Do you want to process that information for a second?
Yeah.
Don't process it.
Why? Like, even if you are 45 and 40 on Tinder, I think you can still figure out TikTok. Why not? It's just like, it's a very short.
I just haven't done it.
To me, it's like if you're saying that, like, I want people to hear about this stuff because they don't know. They will probably be young.
Yeah.
So that's why TikTok. That's what I'm talking about. Because like if you're a young Gen Z kid who is like, oh, I have to live a 9-to-5 job and never leave my home city.
Yeah.
You're not going around like searching for blogs.
I mean, I just want to put it out there in the world. Like, I don't think it matters the format. And I think that's
maybe there will be like a Gen Z kid who's really weird because they're into blogs and into TikTok, and they will be the bridge between your information.
I mean, I will say, like,
the kids.
When as a nomad, like the multiple times that I've Googled like things about like mental health for long-term nomads or like anything like that, there's nothing out there. Like that doesn't exist. Like any kind of like, how do I manage loneliness as a long-term nomad? Like those things don't exist. So putting something out there is better than what's out there now.
Well, that's a cool thing. Like mental health for long-term nomads.
Yeah. I mean, loosely mental health, because obviously I'm not a psychologist or anything,
not
like
mentally healthy.
just
It was
speaking
like-
about my own experiences, like lack of mental health maybe, and trying to form community and deal with loneliness and date and all of these things is like long-term nomads.
Do you feel like you're managing the stress and loneliness and the mental health challenges of being a long-term nomad well?
I think I manage it a lot better than most people.
Most long-term nomads?
Yeah, most other nomads, even short-term nomads, because I think the instinct as a nomad is like travel faster, do more things, like meet more people. And I think like slowing down and taking time and figuring out like, no, what actually makes me happy. And I think, going through all these cities and like getting drunk and meeting all these people and like doing all the things, seeing all the highlights and then leaving, going to a different city and seeing all the highlights and doing these things and like having conversations that are not about the localities, but are still about yourself and your life and what was going on back home. Like those sort of things don't build connection with like where you are actually in that moment. So I mean, it's very easy to like get caught up in like those things are all very exciting, but like those don't build a long-term foundation.
True.
And they don't bring like long-term satisfaction with your life and connection with your community. So yeah, I mean, it's like, it's all fun, but then, how many years can you do that before you're like, oh, I don't actually have anything to show for this?
Is there like a lot of letting go when you do that? Like when you move around from different places?
Oh, yeah. Like you have to get real comfortable with like letting people into your lives and like having really close friends and like caring about them and then just like not seeing them again for a long time. And you have to become really proactive about maintaining those friendships and planning time to see your friends again and organizing things with your other nomads because we're all over the place literally. So you have to become really, really intentional about it.
So I'm thinking like there's like a Russian word that I remember, but there's not English. Those like things that, like glare up and then disappear and then glare up again.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure what the word is.
Ephemeral, maybe?
Flickering.
Oh, flickering. Yeah.
Like it's like, well, so what you're talking about having flickering deep relationships.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is part of the reason I want to write a book because I don't know anyone else who does this. Like, I'm sure there are other people, but I haven't met people who travel and have deep relationships and then leave and then either continue those relationships or go back or, I mean, I think that's like where being polyamorous comes in because it's like that's part of being polyamorous is learning to manage all these different relationships and like
staying polyamorous and even in one place.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's a difficult task.
Yeah.
But when everybody's moving around, it's really weird. Because like I have a story of like meeting a really cool girl.
Yeah.
And we just spent literally 2 days together. Mm-hmm. And then we like, oh, we have such a great match. We have like, great energy. And then she left for Russia for another 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
And then she has a plan of like moving to Asia and then there and there. And like, it's a really good connection.
Yeah.
But then again, we just separated. So it's really weird.
Yeah, that happens. I mean, there's kind of a joke in the Nomad world where it's like you meet the people like right when you're leaving. It's kind of like oh man, that sort of thing happens often. But yeah, then it's like, how do I manage those relationships? And that's another good thing about being a nomad because when you do meet someone, like when I met my current partner 2 years ago, I had only planned on being in Valencia for like 6 weeks. And then I extended my stay. And then I had to go to Paris to be with my brother and his family for a few weeks. And then I decided to go back to Valencia to like give this a try and see what it was. And then it worked out really well. But like, that's a good thing. And that's really good advice that I got early on was if you meet someone where there's even a chance, stick around and like give it a try and just see, because otherwise you're never gonna like forgive yourself or let that go if you don't at least like see it through.
I guess nomad lifestyle like that is really good for if you have a lot of fear in withstanding intimacy and close relationships.
What are you trying to say?
You always have a chance to really quickly run away from any intimacy building up.
And I think that's what a lot of nomads are doing. Like a lot of nomads and expats are running away. And at a certain point you have to think like, okay, maybe running away isn't so bad. Like I'm definitely running away from like boring suburban life. Like I don't want that. Like So I think there's things that it's okay to run away from. But yeah, I think that's another problem in the nomad world. Is like if you can't form those commitments, even with friends, then you're still going to continue to be lonely.
I've had such a hard time imagining a boring life anywhere, honestly.
In Westchester.
Yeah, I mean, just like it's interesting to me because like with the internet, and the everything that's happening, I'm like, how can I ever have a boring life again? Like,
oh my god,
it's such a problem because I'm gonna be making content and having remote calls or making podcasts over the internet and doing all sorts of shit. So it's like now the idea that like has been floating in the air, like me reading books or watching movies of like, oh, they went there and they had such a boring life.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can get overstimulated just by your iPhone while you're sitting on the toilet in the first 15 minutes of your day. Good luck having a boring life now.
Yeah, but that's even, I mean, to me, that's even boring. It's like, is that all there is to do is stare at my phone? Like, there has to be more.
Create content.
Yeah, I mean.
Web design from your home. Build a thing.
Yeah, I think like the life I had before was not one in which those were things that I could have pursued.
But that was before, like, when was it? It was like, so it was 10 years ago was when you were fed up. And then the bulk of that life was even way earlier than that. Yeah,
so I married my high school boyfriend and it turned into it probably always was. And I didn't realize it was an abusive relationship. So in 2010, I left.
Yeah.
And then I had a few years where I stayed in New York and started traveling and doing things. But I can't imagine like ever being like allowed to do like anything creative or do anything other than like continue to teach and
Well, staying in that relationship.
Yeah, and staying in that, and just having like, and probably would have gone on to have kids, which is not something I want.
I do understand the thing of like things get glued together.
Yeah.
Like, okay, there's an abusive relationship and living in a suburban place. And you're like, oh, I guess if I move back to a suburban place, I'm going to have to look for an abusive husband now.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And some children. So,
but I think for me, like living in the suburbs was quite boring because the other people were all, I don't know, like just the conversations to me were so boring. It was so much conversation about like people's weight and what diet were they on and your hair and what shoes do you have. And like, I remember one of my first days that like I was teaching in a suburb for 2 years or for a couple of years. And one of the other teachers came to me and was like, you have to try harder. And I was like, I feel like I'm trying really hard. Like my lessons are really good. The kids are getting it. Like, we're having a good rapport. I have a good relationship. And she was like, no, like, you have to like fix your hair every morning and like buy nicer clothes. And I was like, I don't have any interest in like any of this shit. So like to be able to leave all of that behind and like not have to suffer through another conversation about like what fucking diet someone is on and like whether you're going to be good or bad for lunch. Like I can't do it.
So you're saying there was like a toxic small community there.
Yeah, but I think it's kind of the culture of the suburbs in the US. Like maybe it's changed now because it's been, I left there 12 years ago. So hopefully it's changed and there's more.
Dissemination of information is interesting to me because like when you're talking like it was 2010, YouTube was only 3 years around.
Yeah.
Was not even a thing you could do for a living. And now
texting was like you had to hit the number 7 like 4 times to get an S. Like,
yeah. And now you can just, swipe once and there's an S waiting for you.
Yeah, it's so easy.
It's called Tinder.
Yeah. There was none of that.
Which is good. And like, I wonder, just like I really wonder what's happening now because like with remote work and COVID pushed a lot of things into remote work, which accelerated the trend that was already happening. And
that I started.
You started that, yeah. It's good. Write it in the book. Like people like, please somebody give me the due respect for that.
Yes.
And now like you can live anywhere somehow, somewhat. And like what's gonna happen next? I don't know. Things. Because like there's a guy like me who is like I can speak sort of American And it's like, sounds American. America.
Yes, sure, you're like, I'm doing American. And I'm like, what are you?
I'm doing more American now.
I didn't know that was a choice you were making.
You're going, man, we're going to be going there.
Are you doing American? Are you doing Trump supporter?
I'm doing American.
Are you doing far right Trump supporter?
I'm doing like, I'm doing a guy who is so drunk that he laid with his lips in glue, and now he's speaking.
That's what I said.
And that's why we're gonna go over there. It's true. Weird. Everything's weird. I know.
I agree. Quote from Stanis: "Everything's weird."
Everything is weird. Like I'm like us trying to understand each other.
Yeah,
is really weird because we're coming from very different cultures.
Yeah,
and we are united by this language of the U.S. hegemony.
My language. Thank you for coming to my side.
I am. Well, it's not. That was not a choice. That was. Like, it's just a dominant power.
I guess we won the Cold War then, because now you're speaking English.
you won the information war, surely.
Yeah,
I think that's true. Like, and it's also a weird place to be in. Like, China was kind of doing some things. So, like, we'll go to, like, everything is predicated on actual power. And America has the most military power and made some good political strategic choices. And now people speak more English than
You're
before.
welcome.
But then we go back to the British people. And then let's, like, so many layers there.
Yeah.
It's really weird. Why do people have so many different languages in so many different cultures?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, you wanted to get away from all that.
It was not my favorite.
Yeah, didn't like it.
Yeah.
But from what you're saying, you didn't like a particular subset of the culture and like some relationships that you didn't like. But then you moved to New York City and you still didn't like it?
I mean, I liked it more, but I don't know. There's only so much living in New York you can do. Like,
before dying. Yeah.
It's just a lot. So
too many things?
It's a very aggressive place to be. Yeah. And I really love New York a lot, and I would go back there, but for short periods. Like, it's just a lot.
I mean, it's hard for you to sort of like, is it like that you have to do too much stuff to stay alive because it's very expensive?
Yeah, and then it's just, everyone is on edge and everyone's aggressive. So all of your interactions are tinged with that. And then, and it's not so much that like I don't want to be in New York. It's just like the world is so big and there's so much. Like, I've been traveling 10 years and this is the first time I've been in Tbilisi. So like there's so many places still left to go. So like, why stay in one place if you don't have to or you don't choose to,
Why do go to other places though? That's the kind of why that does not kind of like transfer any information. You can ask it like, well, if I like it in my home, why go anywhere? It's like, if there are many places out there, why not go there? It's like, oh.
Well, I think it's like my way of learning about the world and understanding the world, understanding different cultures and the history and how all those things interrelate.
Well, you're saying it feels good, basically.
Yeah, and also like, I mean, for me, I'm like, it's a whole new thing every 3 to 6 months. Like,
I hate that. I hate it so much.
It's like all these like new exciting things like you didn't even know existed. Like I didn't eat khinkali before 3 months ago. I didn't know that was a thing. Like, this is amazing. Look at this thing.
Okay,
it's delicious.
I did eat khinkali though. Like I guess when if you stay in in a big city for a while, there's so much food there. And like you go like, oh, let's go to a Georgian one.
Yeah, but it's never the same,
Yeah, I like them more there. not as fatty.
Oh, really?
Meat was kind of better.
Like the food handling practices here.
Oh my God. You're like, you buy something spoiled because you come up to something like, oh, this fridge is open. I wonder how long this was going on. It's like, oh, looks like it was going on a whole day.
I bought cheese like 3 days ago and it had expired in October, like before I got here. And I just bought it and like it was still in the store. Like nowhere in the 3 months was someone like, we should throw this away.
I would like take one bread loaf and then there's an entirely green bread loaf.
Oh yeah,
entirely green.
Nice.
In there, and I'm like, oh cool, you're selling that.
The number of times there's been like a hair in my drink in this country like exceeds all the other times in every other country. Just why? Why, Georgia?
Why? It's true.
Why?
I'm scared of many things here. It's true.
It's mostly that.
I guess I like the fantasy world a lot. Just like the things that people like draw or write or compose and stuff like that. Maybe that's why I'm just like, I want to go to several countries.
Yeah.
And like, I would like to stay there for a couple of years. And
see, now you're coming to my side.
But no, that's not. But I want like to build a life there. Yeah. Basically, and then I want to take that and move it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like
that's what I'm doing.
No, but I want to take my table.
Oh, so you're just committed to this table.
I'm committed to the table, to the dog.
You know that there are tables in other countries.
To the wife. But it's my table, man.
Yeah.
It's like it goes up and down.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great table. I'm not gonna.
And yeah, you can buy a similar one. You can buy it everywhere and selling them all the time and getting used to all the new ones. That would be really annoying.
Yeah, that would.
And at the end of that, you would be like, oh, fuck it. I'll just use the table that they have. And then you're like, oh, fuck it. I'll just use the monitors that they like. I'll find somewhere. And then you don't really have a thing that you've been building for a while.
Yeah, but I would like to suggest that you build things that are intangible.
Yeah. Well, I do have those as well.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, I think that's the hard part about being a nomad is finding those things that you can build.
I guess I'm just so bad with managing small things.
Yeah. Also, did you not hear my story about having to change my flight like 4 times?
Yeah.
Because I can't count.
And that's the like I feel like that's a big chunk of my sanity.
Yeah.
Taken out there.
I mean, if it's a problem you can solve with money, it's not a problem. So.
Yeah, probably. No, you do have to have a lot of money then.
You just have to budget.
Sure.
And become a web developer.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I'm doing well for myself with my work, which is weird to me as well.
You're like, how am I successful? How did this happen? Yeah, I was trying so hard not
it's kind of annoying
to be shitty. And now people are having expectations of me. What?
You know, it's all, like what the thing that I have is like, how am I not like 38 years old right now? I feel just
like 32.
I'm 31.
31. How am I not 38? That's what I don't understand.
No, I'm like, because like I have people around me who are like, oh my God, I'm 28 now. I'm like, shut up. It's like I'm so old. And like, you've been barely conscious for 10 years.
My boyfriend's 27.
Oh, that's nice.
So. Oh wait, he might be 28 now.
He might be.
I can't remember.
Time works like that.
That's how time works. Yeah. Yeah.
His name is Adrian.
Yeah.
Do you do the thing from the Rocky movies?
No, because it's not Adrian. It's Adrian.
But you can stretch it like.
He doesn't. He does not like.
He does not like it when you do a
he doesn't like that.
Sylvester Stallone impression in bed.
Not a fan. Not a fan. Not a fan of that.
That's like ruined orgasm, like just like spelled out.
So now you know that I've tried that.
I do. I never imagined that you didn't. I like this. Like I was always thinking that Die Hard is like the name of like if you died while using Viagra. Yeah. It's just you die hard.
Yeah, that's the whole movie. Do you not see the movie? That's what it's about.
This is what
it was filmed in my school.
And I really like the David Goggins that his catchphrase is "Stay hard."
Nice.
And people write it in comments, and sometimes I go in there and I write, but not more than 4 hours. Yeah, because then you have to go to a doctor. So maybe don't stay hard that long. Should be some reasonable stuff there.
I feel like that's like a Georgian man thing because like that's the only thing they can do. That's all they have to contribute is like a hard dick. Like that's all they have. So
well, it's not. It's more than nothing. It's like it's good.
They have nothing else to bring to the table.
Yeah. It was interesting. Like I feel that like even if you meet somebody who has zero sex skills, if they have some communication skills, you can still manage something.
It's not.
But if you meet somebody who has no communication skills and no sort of like sex skills, then it's
But they
like
can
weird.
have communication skills and they're just like, I'm not doing that. I don't know how to do that. I'm not doing that. And you're like, well, what are you doing? What are we doing? There's nothing.
Well, that's
We're
actually
out of options.
That's a negotiation skill then.
Yeah. That's why
like
that guy's
maybe
blocked in my phone and made fun of in my last stand-up.
Interesting. It is interesting that you have a grudge there that's not dissipating, even though you already did it on stage.
Because I've had this experience multiple times here.
With several people?
Yeah,
but
it's been the
one
same.
guy.
Well, there's one in particular, but the rest of them have all been the same. It's just that I caught on, and then I was like, "Oh no, we're not doing this again."
I wonder. Oh, it's interesting. Well, I guess in your age group, that would be sounds good.
23 to 28.
What was that the age of the Georgian people you met?
Do you know any 45-year-old Georgian men?
I think I do. Are you suggesting they died?
I'm just saying they don't. They either are like married and have kids, or are horribly misogynistic and like don't have any.
So you're looking for people who are like 23 to 28
Well,
year olds?
I think like the younger generation, not specifically, but like the younger generation was raised with more feminism, so they do tend to be less misogynistic. So I mean, I'd love to date a guy my age, but I have not found any of them that are not that understand consent and respect for women. And
that's a problem I didn't think about.
Yeah, I mean, the ones that have that are already like married and raising kids or in monogamous relationships.
Yeah, that's like I guess that's the problem of being very like compared to your. What I wanted to say is that I feel that me compared to my age group, I am a little forward, a little out there, like a little liberal.
Now imagine,
and you're like
14, 15 years older.
Yeah, because like when I talk to people who are like 20 years old right now, or like 10 years younger than me, I'm like, we have really, share a lot of values with them.
Same,
right?
Exactly.
But then like I have a hard time actually finding somebody who is even like even more than 5 years younger than me, attractive in that way. Like I guess it could be if I was interested in like casual sex. Maybe that would work because wood works, whatever. I can contribute a part as well. But I'm really just like with bars and small talk. I just can't. I like whatever connections I have
There's
with
just
people.
like not enough there.
It's kind of a relationship always. And so I'm like, I have zero ability to have anything with somebody who I don't feel sort of like on even ground with. Mm-hmm. Well, I honestly sort of like I realized I do not believe in situations where like monogamous people can sort of that I would explain to somebody and they would get it. I just completely ruled them out now for myself. Because me specifically, I feel like I'm a lot more like romantically polyamorous than sexually, because like I really do want to have a sort of like a relationship, a romantic relationship. And I think somebody can start trying polyamory and they like, I don't know, start with some maybe casual sex or do some other stuff. It's really hard to start with building an actual relationship because there's a lot of skill that goes into that. So I just stopped ever trying to have anything with anybody who is not like themselves. I'm in the past decided that this is how I live my life. Because I'm like, we're on the same page then. Like, because sometimes people like have this falling in love like reaction where they're like, oh, whatever you say, sure. Like,
oh yeah.
Doesn't matter. I kind of
they're
really
like, I'll deal with that later. And
and then
no.
a month passes, and it's like, so what's happening here?
I think a lot of people do that with having kids too. They're like, oh, you'll change your mind. I'm like, that's not happening. Like, I've been very clear my whole life that I never wanted kids, and people like just have assumed that I would always change my mind and tried to pressure me into changing my mind. And like that has like, luckily like I stuck to my gut and like knew that was not for me. But
I really respect when people don't want to have kids. And that's and that's an interesting thing to be like, I do want to have kids. And I feel like people actually do feels like they quite clearly separate. That some people like really don't want kids.
Yeah.
And some people are like, for me, it's like, I cannot imagine not having kids in the end. Like, so to the level of like, if it's going to be too hard to like make my own kids, like adoption is definitely a thing, like basically. And I feel like from what I've been talking to people, interestingly, mostly everybody some kind of like I knew it my whole life.
See, it's funny you say that because I've actually like, I always thought that everybody either knows they want kids or knows they don't want kids, because for me, that choice was super clear. Like I never wanted kids. Yeah. But I actually learned from like a lot of my friends and a lot of nomads and like listening to other women that like, that's actually a really difficult choice that they have to make. And like, they have to really consider all of the things and figure that out with their partner if they do want to have kids or not. And for me, I was like, I feel very grateful that I just always knew, because I think that's a really, really difficult conversation and decision for a lot of people, which for me, it was like, oh, it's just obvious, but it's not obvious to everyone.
Maybe it's actually a spectrum.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't know enough people.
Yeah. You need some friends.
Like my friends are kind of more, I guess they're more clear in that.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll say something like, I don't know, like, well, we'll figure it out later.
Yeah.
I guess that's like, I guess I will know that they are one of those.
Yeah. They're still trying to make the decision and they just can't.
They'll probably hit like 35 or something and they'll be like, fuck, we really need to figure it out now.
Yeah.
Like,
or sometimes people think like, oh, the answer will be more clear in the future, but it's not. You're still going to be the same person.
Yeah, it's true. Like, I think nothing becomes more clear.
Yeah, you're still going to be you. Like,
with
you're
time.
still going to have to deal with this.
Like, there is a list. Like, there are things that will take a lot out of me to try to figure out.
Yeah.
Like how to do a first stand-up show. Because I liked stand-up for a long time. And I only did my first stand-up here. Even though I knew there are English-speaking open mics in Moscow. But like it was a thing that needed sort of like an extra push. Yeah. And I guess there's like a list of things that need an extra push.
Well, I think that's kind of how it was for me. It was like it was on my list of things to do, but like it was never a priority. But then sometimes, the right situation comes along and you're like, oh, it was actually funny because like my plan, there's an ice rink here. So my plan was I brought my skates and I was going to skate 3 days a week and like get back into training and then like see where I was at the end of 3 months and decide if I was going to go back to competing or something. And like, that was kind of my goal for Tbilisi. And then Tbilisi was like, no.
No ice?
Well, there was, but like a bunch of things happened. It just wasn't working out the way I wanted. And then like the stand-up thing just was like, oh, but this is the perfect situation to try stand-up. So, I just kind of like shifted gears, and instead of following this like one goal that I wanted, just like, oh, but the conditions are actually perfect for me to do this other goal. So just like shifted gears and tried something else, and it worked out perfectly for me. So I don't really know if there was a point in there somewhere, but I think we were talking about like, if there's like a little push, like if the conditions are perfect to do something, then.
And we went there from kids. Yeah. But when you have a child, there's more than a little push that's needed. Yeah. It's like, it's a lot more.
But I think people are like, well, if the conditions are perfect, then I'll do it. And if they're not, then I won't. And, that's fine too.
I for some reason, and I don't know why, I'm like so pro kids for me. Yeah. That it's weird. Like I've never just even imagined my life without having kids. Yeah. And for whatever reason. And the thing that I have is like when I was growing up, I was like, oh, I'm inside here now, like this. I'm the kid now. Yeah. And then I'll see it from the other side. Yeah. And I'll make and I'm really sort of like there are a lot of questions that I have about, okay, but how does it look from the other side? Yeah. I get because like my mom maybe with this because my mom kept saying like when you'll have kids,
Yeah.
you'll understand how difficult it is and why I suck
I mean,
so
my
much.
mom said that too, but I'm
like, I'll do a better job. I think I'll know. Like
Yeah.
the older I become, I'm like, no, mom, you're like just these things are not as like incredibly difficult as you describe them. Like, but I do get that she had like a different situation where there was a lot more shit to deal with mentally and stuff. It's a cool feeling that like, in a way, I feel there is nothing we agree on or disagree on. In a way that's actually that creates a conflict.
We are incompatible, but we can still be friends.
Sure.
I think for me, like actually I had this conversation earlier this week with someone because I feel like, do you ever do that thing? Well, you've been married since you were like 18, so maybe you didn't do
not
this.
Not married, just
but
been together.
Maybe you never did this, but like over the summer I was living with a bunch of other Nomad friends and we were all talking about like what's your list of like the things you look for most in a partner. And so it was 6 of us living together and the other 5 all put curiosity as their number one thing. And I put like a moral compass and like somebody's like having values and like ethics and integrity. I think that's how I phrased it, was integrity. And like for me, that was like the number one thing that I looked for in a person. So I feel like as long as I, have someone else like with integrity, anything else is like we can disagree or like be incompatible. But like for me, that's the number one thing that I look for in like a not just romantic relationships, but in friendships too. Like, is this person authentic and do they have integrity and are they always 100% themselves? Or are they like putting on this like superficial bullshit? So I think like as long as that's there, then like everything else is just like, all right, we can still be friends. Like we don't have to agree on things.
How did you jump to the we can still be friends train?
From what?
Thoughts. Like, well, there was a silence and then it's like I'm trying to figure out, is there a story here anywhere?
I don't want to tell it.
Still want to tell it.
I will tell it to you later. Okay. It's very recent.
Okay. I'm just...
it's not the guy from the stand-up.
I'm thinking, like, so I'm listening to you.
Yeah.
And I hear the things that you did and some things that you want to do. But it feels to me like the things that you say, they all sound like status quo. Like, cause like I don't see a story that's going like, oh, and I would like to go here and change this way, for example. It's like you're saying
because I have reached my peak form. I have self-actualized, and now all I have to do is just do this.
So you just like you have reached your final form.
This is it.
And then now you just don't want to mess with perfection. I'm just gonna be
awesome for the rest of my life.
And like document your awesomeness.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely things I'd like to do. Like I think I talked about before. Like I'd love to go back and compete in figure skating again. Like there's some unfinished business for me there. I'd love to, like, I'm writing a book, so I'd love to finish that and publish it. And there's definitely like things that I'm working on. I'm not just like giving up and like this is the best I can do. But like I do feel like I have worked really hard to be the person I am and to have these achievements, and to now I just want to like be who I am and exist in the world. And like that's how I change things. It's just being my most authentic self and showing up like that every day. And that's how I affect change. And that's how I like change people's opinions or interact with the world and learn about the world and things like that.
Interesting.
If that makes sense.
Have you ever played games?
Like Settlers of Catan? Or like mind games on Tinder.
There was such an old, I guess, reference that it's like no, I'm saying like video games.
We had Metroid.
I think it's still around.
Is it? We had versions. Zelda, Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, it's like there are new Legends of Zelda all the time.
That's not my problem.
Breath of the Wild. Something like what you're describing sounds like when you completed every quest and you have done everything and you were walking around the world.
Yeah.
Where you're just like checking in with the characters.
I mean, I'm still going on side quests, but like, yeah, I think the main.
So your main...
Yeah, like I think I've become the person I want to be, and now I just have to like do that.
Cool. That's so unrelatable to me. Like, I'm like, what the fuck?
I mean, in 10 to 15 years, you'll be like, oh, I totally get what she was saying. Because I think it comes with age. Because, you figure out who you are and you stop caring about what other people think. And you figure out how to exist in the world and all these little tricks. Like you were saying, like, oh, when I get overwhelmed, I have to go sit and write. And like, you learn all these things about yourself. And then you're like, oh, finally you put all the pieces together and you're like, this is just who I am. And I love everything about myself. And I'm just going to like be in the world and be awesome. And like, there's a confidence that comes with that.
I guess I've never met a person as self-actualized as you then.
You're welcome.
Even like,
I mean, I hope this is not, it's probably coming across like bragging, but I'm not trying to brag. I'm just saying.
I've met people older, but none of them were like, it's done.
I'm not saying it's done, like that I have nothing left to learn, or like I just think I'm the person who I want to be. And like I'm gonna continue to live.
You're crystallizing now.
No, like it's not like I'm not gonna ever change. Like I think those are already parts of who I am, like the way I learn about the world and the way I continue to exist in it.
I've never heard anything like that. I've never, not from anybody, not from like 60-year-olds.
Am I like sleep deprived or what? Or am I making sense or no?
I don't know. I've never heard anything like that.
I think it comes from like, from a lot of time spent by myself and a lot of time spent reflecting and thinking and, reading and like trying to understand myself better and trying to understand the world and like where I fit into it. And I think doing a lot of that work, where I think a lot of people, even older, and especially in the older generations, like they didn't have that opportunity to do that. Like I got a lot of free time.
Cool. It's like, to me, it sort of feels like dying while you're still alive. It's like,
I think it's the opposite.
Cool. I had like, I'm just thinking about like the older people that I had the opportunity to talk to that felt like they actually are not out of their fucking mind. So no relatives. Yeah. But I'm thinking about like therapy teachers that I had that were like 50 or 60 years old and stuff like that. And honestly, I've never heard anything like that. It's interesting. You might be the first fully self-actualized person.
I don't mean it in a way where it's like, I think a lot of people, they get their job, they get their house, they get their car, they have their kids, they have their partner, and then there's like, I'm just done. Like, I'm just going to like, this is who I am forever. Mm. And I don't mean it like that. I mean, like, I think that the way that I live in the world is exactly how I want it to be. Okay. And I'm just going to continue to do that and continue to learn in the way that I've been learning and continue to grow in the way I've been growing.
Okay. Well, is there no like tragedy to it? Catastrophe?
Like what?
I don't know, like death and like suffering around you in the world.
Do you need like a tragic backstory?
I don't know. I mean, like not backstory. I mean, like right now, is there no trauma that's touching you right now?
Yeah, there's always going to be trauma, but like that's kind of what I'm trying to say. It's not like I'm just like done and like this is my life, but like I'm done in a sense of like I am confident in my ability to deal with those things and to handle my emotions and to learn and to tackle those challenges. You'll get it in like 10 to 15 years.
I seriously doubt it.
You're like, I will never be this confident.
I might. No, that's not it.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, if we meet again, I'm sure I'll figure you out a little bit later.
Not that complicated. This explains a lot.
Yeah. What do you mean?
I mean, I just think people sometimes have a hard time relating to me. Not you specifically, but
me specifically, yeah.
But you,
me very specifically.
Like, what are you saying?
Like, just like what are you saying?
It's possible that I'm just sleep deprived and not making any sense. That's also an option here.
So you're hungover and sleep deprived.
That is correct.
You're also, I think, the first one to be that on my podcast.
I'm sorry.
Congratulations.
It's
a unique flavor.
I'm so tired.
Sure. It's okay. I have been harassing you for a long time now. Well, this was also like, I think I do these podcasts and usually like I try to ask people questions about them.
Yeah.
but it devolves into something different all the time. But you've been actually really great at staying with it, and we are actually talking about you this entire time, and that's cool.
I'm trying. It's all about me. Is that what you're saying? you're the first selfish bitch we've had on this show.
Yeah, it's like, nah, that's really like Daria was here just the
Please say that on her birthday.
Yeah, we'll see. That's good. And it's like, yeah, well, interesting. Like, it's interesting. I don't understand you at all. Like, what
that's fine.
Motivates
it's okay.
you?
It's okay.
What's that all about? I guess, yeah, that's okay. I guess there are a lot of people I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, travel the world. Might understand them a little better. Yeah. I feel like for me that's been really helpful. Like, I've met so many different people that I get it a little bit more now. Yeah.
You mean like when you meet different people, you're like, oh, this feels like that one Filipino
Yeah, I'm
guy.
like, I understand you. Yeah, I get it.
Okay. Do you feel like you understand and can relate to me?
I think Georgia in particular, this part of the world has been very difficult for me to like really understand. Even only being here 3 months, like it's just been very disorienting and very confusing to me. So I think I just have a very loose grasp on what's going on here.
True.
And just this whole side of the world is just not something that I really deeply understand yet.
I have a hard time just saying that I'm like part of Georgia.
Yeah.
I'm just like, sticking out like a thumb as well.
Yeah.
But, cause I'm part of the, like group of Russian people who came over.
Yeah.
Because of the whole mobilization thing and stuff. So there's like, and then like a lot of those Russians already moved on.
Yeah.
But also I'm not really a lot like a lot of the Russians who are here. So it's just really weird.
And I think it's a very conservative country and we are not conservative people. So it's automatically a little difficult for us to understand and
probably paint my nails back. I stopped because somehow it's the type of thing that stays there for until you use special instruments to get it off. It's shellac. I'm not sure what it's called in English. Like a type of like gel that hardens under ultraviolet.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not sure what's the name in English. Well, it started bending my fucking fingernails.
Oh, no.
So like I took it off, and now it took, I think, almost 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
For all of that to grow away, and now they're smooth again. And I'm like, should I do it again, or is it gonna fuck up my nails?
Or did I learn from my mistakes?
Probably didn't.
Probably will continue to repeat the same errors.
What will your book be about?
So it's fictionalized memoir of moving to Barcelona and joining the Human Towers team and all of that, and
so fictionalized, but not a lot.
It's mostly fictionalized in the sense that
you have silver hair and like
no, I'm gonna
abilities?
combine some of the characters and maybe make a different character say something that this person actually said, but give it to this.
So
person.
It's like the story works better.
Yes, and just condensing things because the story actually took place over like probably 2 years. So I just want to condense it down so the timeline makes a little more sense and.
No, that's good.
And just consolidate some characters and make whereas it might have been 8 or 9 different people that helped me in different ways or something, like just make it one character. So it's
just
more.
one. If it's like a 90s film, it should be like one magical gay character who's like a friend.
I don't have a magical gay character.
You can have one easily with the power of imagination.
Yeah, I could do that.
It's just like the perfect gay friend who always knows what to do.
I don't think I need that character, but I will consider that. I will take that under professional consideration.
Okay. And then and it's the book ends when kind of the character figures shit out.
So what really happened and how the book will end is that how the book starts is I went to Barcelona for like a few days to be like, what is this? And I ended up in the main square watching these human towers for like 6 hours because I was obsessed
with human towers.
And it happened to be the one day of the year that I didn't realize this, but where all the teams of Barcelona go at the same time. There's like 8 or 9 teams, but at the time there was like 6. So just watching like tower, and then they're like falling down, and I was just like obsessed with it.
They fall down?
Yeah, it's 9 people standing on each other's shoulders. Like that's not stable.
And then they get hurt.
I mean, it's minor injuries. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. So then that's like the beginning. And then the whole arc of like joining the team and the struggles of learning Catalan and being yelled at in Catalan and like having to work very physically closely with my ex and like having to have like all these difficult interactions and really having to push myself and be like super uncomfortable and super out of my comfort zone. And then the end, spoiler alert, which is what really happened, was at the 2018 competition. We did this like huge tower that was like a huge source of accomplishment for our team, and I was in one of like the really important positions. And so just having to like learn to work together with all those people, and and I'm super claustrophobic, so like being squished tightly for 4 to 5 minutes is like not super fun for me, but so just having that like pride of accomplishment, something that didn't know was an option.
So it's like you can sell movie rights for
Netflix can call me. Yeah.
The human tower. Like,
I mean, it's fucking amazing to watch. Like the movie would be amazing because
Tower of Babel or something.
All the towers are falling down. I mean, not ours, but the other teams because they suck. But
was there like a human airplane that hit one of the
no 9/11 jokes.
Never.
No, don't do that.
Okay.
You know, I was in New York on 9/11.
I didn't know that at all.
Well, I was across the river, but we watched it out the window of our classroom.
Was after filming the Die Hard 3?
It was a different school.
Okay.
Yeah. So, it was a different school, but very dramatic.
Sure.
Yeah. So we will not be doing that in the human towers.
No human airplanes.
No human airplanes. It's fine, don't worry.
No hijacked human airplane. I guess, that would be a movie that I would not expect to see on Netflix. And I would be like, oh, now they're doing a Human Towers in Barcelona movie. I should really unsubscribe. It's way past time.
I think it would be great. Like just the dynamics and like seeing how, for me, it's been so interesting to watch how the community functions because it's all people live in the same neighborhood. And
who would you be played by? Would you think Julia Roberts?
No, it's definitely going to have to be someone
Younger?
short and chubby because you can't make the tower.
They could overfeed Emilia Clarke.
If you're going to talk about famous people, I don't know who they are.
Okay. Have you never watched Game of Thrones?
I stopped watching it.
But you do remember.
It got too violent for me. Okay, yeah. I know who that is.
That's Emilia Clarke.
Okay.
She's the mother of dragons.
Sure.
Yeah.
Everything I know about it is like from being in Croatia and like Dubrovnik because that's where they filmed it.
Do you not like TV shows and stuff like that?
I don't watch a ton of stuff. Yeah. Unless I'm like real depressed because I don't like Georgia.
We can never be friends. Like it's like we could.
I don't know who the famous people are. Like I have two friends named Sarah, and they're both always like, "Oh my god!" And this person. I'm like, I don't know. I can't participate in this conversation. I don't know who any of the people are.
You have too many people that you meet that you need to remember.
No, I just don't know who the famous people are.
Any famous people?
Like,
do you know like
someone was like
Albert Einstein?
Well, yeah, I mean I was a teacher, but like someone was like name all the soccer players you know, and I was like Ronaldo, Messi, Maradona, Megan Rapinoe, and Mia Hamm. Like that's the best I can do.
I didn't know any soccer players as well.
That's all the soccer players I can name.
But I do know actors in TV shows.
I do.
Because I do like
not
TV
know
shows.
That. I can name some comedians, but I don't think I can name actors.
Okay, go on. Do name some comedians.
No, now you're gonna put me on the spot. Well, obviously, like growing up in New York and growing up in New Jersey, like and moving to New York, like Jerry Seinfeld is like classic. How he got away with like so many specific New York City jokes that like outsiders wouldn't get, but it was still like national TV. Like that to me is amazing. Like, Trevor Noah is probably my all-time favorite though. Yeah. Just to be able to like be so insightful and funny and to understand the world on such a like big scale. That like I just think he's a genius. Yeah. You name some comedians. I can name comedians.
Surely. I
didn't study for this podcast.
Well, when I was 18, like my favorite comedian was Eddie Izzard. It was just really Cake or Death was
okay.
And the cunning use of flags and all the Latin jokes. Because I was studying philology. So
yeah.
Latin. I was studying Latin. So
I also studied Latin. Oh, see, finally
fun.
something we have in common.
Sure.
Finally.
Both studied English at some point. You probably earlier than me.
Yeah.
At an earlier age. Probably started at 1.
It was the 80s.
But I started at 7. So that's the difference. In the 80s, all Americans were learning English once they were born. I know, like you're not always doing that now, but should have been good. Other than 80s art, like I remember I liked Jimmy Carr, but now I kind of like him less. I don't know why. I guess it's kind of great structure, but those jokes don't stay with me much. Like I don't remember them because they're not very deep. I have favorite bits from like John Mulaney.
Oh yeah, he's classic.
Of course, Delta Airline, like this, like because we're Delta Airline, and life is a fucking nightmare. It just really, really stuck with me. I really love some Anthony Jeselnik jokes.
Okay.
About the Bible and grandma and all that, and like I guess. Like Louis C.K. is like in terms of like the number of bits that I love, I think is number 1 for me. Is like I just have so many really, really favorite like bits that he has. Like of course, but maybe is one of my favorite ones. Just like and just the insight he gives into death and like his latest special. Also, like I really like the stuff about like your parents dying. Like getting closer to death and all that. It was just really good. And like those would be mostly the ones I like. I guess the current ones, which are like Joe List, Sam Morrill, and Mark Normand. I kind of like them, but at the same time, I have a much harder time remembering their jokes because like they didn't stay with me as well. They're funny, but they're just.
Just
the topics are not as grabbing, not as deep, I guess. Okay, let's. I guess we can be wrapping up in this horribly depressing atmosphere. It's like the human connection that does not work. It's like that's the name of the game here.
We both studied Latin. That's
it's amazing.
That's all we need.
All those things. Agricola.
Sure.
All that. Sure. Yeah.
Did you have those books that was like all about Caesar and his family or Caecilius and his family? No. You didn't have those books?
No, we had some Russian specific like Latin books.
We had these books where like it was every book was like the story of this merchant and his name was Caecilius and like it was the whole story of like his life and his family and everything. And I thought it was all made up. And then when I went to Pompeii, they're like, this is like Caecilius. Like it was all true. Like it was all based on like an actual guy.
They showed the guy to you?
Yeah, like when you go to Pompeii,
alive?
you can like go to his house. Yeah, you could be like, this is, and you can like talk to him. And he's like, this is my life story. He has a podcast.
Cool. I think AI will make that reality really quickly.
Please don't bring Caecilius back from the dead. We don't need that.
They just did like a George Carlin kind of like AI concert.
Oh no.
I'm glad I'm dead. But
I don't like this trend.
Yeah, it's weird and it doesn't sound really good. I didn't like it much.
Shocking.
Well, anyway, Chris, thank you for coming in.
Thanks for inviting me.
It was very weird. I like.
This is like a classic last day in a city activity.
Yeah, like you're saying goodbye to Tbilisi.
Yeah, my flight is in like 8 hours.
It was like awkward silences and uncomfortable conversations.
I feel like that's an accurate representation of who I am in this place.
That's a great way of celebrating the time, and the way you spend that time in Tbilisi.
I couldn't have written it better if I tried.
Okay, well, thank you for coming in, and you guys like this thing. Yeah.
Whatever this mess is.
Subscribe, leave comments. If anybody any one of you related to Chris and how she lives her life and can explain it to me, I'd be
Can you explain it to me as well?
I'd be happy to like be told. She's not telling me. I have no idea. It's just really weird. Well, yeah, bye.
Nobody gets me.